Basement of La Penta. This is WICR.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Sportsville. I am your host with the most, Jersey Joe, and after last night, I'm asking myself one question and one question only. Are the Cleveland Cavaliers the best team in the Eastern Conference right now? I think it's a very, very well-deserved question to ask. They beat the LA Clippers 105-94. It's their 12th straight win right now. After that win, they moved into third place in the top 8 playoff seed rankings in the Eastern Conference. And I'm going to be honest, like I just said, I really think they are the best team in the Eastern Conference right now. I mean, let's look. We all understand Atlanta has been outstanding this year, 41-9 record. Mike Budenholzer has done an outstanding job there. They play good defense. They move the ball. But in the NBA, at the end of the day, all that matters is that you have star power. You can have great players. You can have players who do a lot of things well, but you've got to have star power on your team. Now, the Hawks have good players. Al Horford is a very good player. Paul Millsap is a very good player. Jeff Teague is a very good player. But none of these guys are the guy where I'm saying when the game is on the line in the last 2 minutes, if the ball is in his hands, there's nothing I can do about it. I get that with two players on the Cleveland Cavaliers. If you put the ball in Kyrie Irving's hands and if you put the ball in LeBron James's hands, in those spots, I have a pretty good feeling that my team's going to get it done. Now, I just think everything we've been watching from Cleveland has just been outstanding. I mean, if you've been watching them these past 12 games, you can just see that they're at a different level right now. When they finally started playing defense, moving the ball the way they could, and when they just started having fun again, they really look like they're one of the top tier, one of the best teams in the NBA. And right now, I really don't see a team in the Eastern Conference that, I mean, if this is what the Cavs are, and they continue to sustain this play, will legitimately challenge them. Atlanta's very good, but they don't scare me because of the lack of star power. Toronto's a good team, but again, Kyle Lowry, outstanding point guard. They have a lot of nice pieces, but not a huge, mega, primetime star. Washington, again, very young. John Wall, Bradley Beal, very good players, but it's not that one dominant, just you can't stop this guy. You have Chicago. Now, Chicago is the one we all kind of, at the beginning of the season, kind of put them right there. They were the best team in the East. They were the team to beat. They were probably going to come out of the East in the conference finals. But Chicago has really lost their defensive identity. We really seen the last 4 seasons, Tom Thibodeau, no one could replicate the kind of defense his teams were playing. They were consistently number 1, number 2, number 3 in the league the last 4 years in total defensive rankings. I mean, they were just grinding it out, and they weren't a great offensive team during those years. So it just helped them so much because no one could grind it out as well defensively. But this year, they're 19th in total defense, really have become much more of an offensive-oriented team, and I think especially for them, they struggle to really get a lot of good shots from three-point range. When Mike Dunleavy comes back, it'll be better, but they're just not a great offensive team. They have very good players. Pau Gasol is leading the league in double-doubles. He's been fantastic. Jimmy Butler is a very good two-way player. Derrick Rose has been hit and miss, but I think overall they're not good enough offensively to get away from their defensive identity. And Chicago just doesn't scare me right now unless they kind of figure it out and they get back to that defense we know that they've been so accustomed to playing. They don't terrify me at all. I think Cleveland right now is showing you on both sides of the basketball that there's not another team. During this stretch, I haven't seen another team who's done it on both ends of the floor as well in the East as Cleveland has. But then let's go to 6 and 7 are kind of throwaways. 6, 7, and 8 are all kind of throwaways. Milwaukee, Jason Kidd's done some good things there. They play defense, not a real threat at all. Charlotte, they've been very disappointing. Don't know what's happening there. And 8, Miami, they've been a mess. You take Chris Bosh off Miami, they're the Washington Generals. So the last 3 seeds really present nothing at all. It's really going to come down to the top 5. But I'm telling you, right now, if there's a better team than Cleveland right now, I don't know who it is. And as long as they can continue this, I really think that they're the best in the East, and they'll come out. But let's look into yesterday's game. I mean, it kind of shows you a couple things this stretch. Stability breeds success. And we saw when the Cavs were going through their rough patch, I think there was no other time where David Blatt's ever been in so much jeopardy of losing his job. But you give David Griffin a lot of credit because he came out right away and he never wavered. He never for a second went out there and said that David Blatt might be in a little bit of trouble. Never for a second. Always assured him that his job was safe. And that was the message that I thought too. It was totally ridiculous that into the season with somewhere like 20 games, they were already talking about firing the guy. This is a big adjustment for him. And one thing to David Blatt, when he originally took the Cavs job, the message wasn't championship or bust. He thought he was going to get Kyrie Irving, he was going to get a young team with a lot of guys, and he was going to have to develop this team into a playoff contender. But then everything changed when LeBron came. They made the move getting rid of Andrew Wiggins for Kevin Love. Then it became championship or bust. So the expectations for David Blatt changed immediately. He was going to be able to grow and kind of test the waters with this young team. They were going to grow together. But then he kind of got lumped into, okay, now it's championship or bust. And I didn't think that was a very fair. But look, I give him a lot of credit because he stuck it out, and he looks right now more confident and more poised than I've ever seen him. I mean, you could just see it in the huddle when he's talking to the guys, and I think it's one thing, winning cures all your ails, and you see that definitely with this Cavs team. Everyone seems to be on the same page. I think even the interactions with LeBron and David Blatt look better. They look like they're really enjoying each other. They're listening. They're communicating better. I think David Blatt was always a smart guy. I never wanted to let him go because it always brought me back to Eric Spoelstra with Miami. When they got off to a rough start, I mean, you talk about being in jeopardy of losing your job. Eric Spoelstra was about 5 seconds out the door. But same thing with the GM. Pat Riley never wavered, always assured him that it was his job. He was not going anywhere. And look what happened with them. 4 finals, 2 championships. I just think it's always just the easy way out to blame it on the coach. At the end of the day, this league is all about the players. It's all about playing it out, doing your job. It's just the coaches get way too much blame sometimes. And David Blatt is showing right now he knows what he's doing, and he's doing a fantastic job. But the hugest thing, the biggest thing that turned this all around more than anything was Timothy Mozgov, J.R. Smith, and Iman Shumpert. Now, a huge part of this also was, of course, the best player in the world coming back, LeBron James. But Timothy Mozgov was really the spark that ignited this whole run. As soon as they got him, they started winning, and rightfully so. I mean, when Anderson Varejao went out, we knew that was going to be a huge loss. I mean, it's hard to lose a starting center in this league with the production he had. But even Mozgov does things better than he did. Varejao, I felt, was a much more offensive-minded center. Mozgov is, I mean, he's just a guy who really protects the rim so well. I mean, he really is just a guy who, when you have a player inside the paint, he's going to stop him. He really has done such a good job. He's an energy guy. He looks like he's really enjoying playing for a contender. I mean, that Denver Nuggets roster is a mess. I don't think anybody's really enjoying playing there. I mean, even their head coach doesn't seem to really enjoy this roster. So I don't know what's going on there, but Timothy Mozgov has been such a huge centerpiece. And J.R. Smith, I mean, him and LeBron, you just look at them on the bench, they look like they're getting along really well. And I think J.R. Smith, I mean, and you give Charles Barkley a little bit of credit for saying it yesterday, when you're on a bad team, you're going to be a knucklehead. When you're on a good team, winning cures all your ails, and I think he's just enjoying it, really is. Shumpert, I mean, we all understood the Cavs needed wing defenders desperately. He's really done a good job with that. But the biggest pieces of anything are LeBron James and Kyrie Irving. The dynamic duo, which I call them now, I mean, the two of them, I think the chemistry is amazing. I mean, last night, the thing that really stuck out to me was when the two of them, they didn't even have to play the fourth quarter. This game was over well into the third quarter, way over. The Cavs in total control every second of this game. But, I mean, you just look at the two of them kind of joking around, palling around, and I've really watched this closely to kind of watch their interactions with each other. And it's kind of, to me, looks like big brother LeBron and little brother Kyrie Irving. It's really a good relationship. I mean, the two of them, I just think Kyrie's embraced it so much, just learning what he's been able to from LeBron. And a couple shows back, I talked about what LeBron said in his letter in the summer about how he thought he could make Kyrie one of the best point guards in the league. And he most certainly has. I mean, Kyrie is playing the best basketball he's ever played in his NBA career, in his short college career because he was injured. I think this is the best basketball he has ever played. Both ends of the floor, making big shots, I mean, he's affecting every play on both sides of the ball. On defense, I mean, making the right pass, finding the open guy, making the smart plays. He just does everything, and he's such a sharp guy. You could just see it when he was coming out of Duke. He just gets it. And when you have a point guard in this league, and especially when he's part of your big core three, he's got to be a guy who just gets it, a smart guy who buys into the team. Kyrie and LeBron, their relationship right now, I don't know, some people might have noticed it too. Him and LeBron were kind of palling around on the bench. But, I mean, I think that's so good to see because when you have a veteran like LeBron in his who's 30 on the dot, and Kyrie, a very young guy, still has so much to learn in this league. And you see the relationship that they have and how good it is. It's just phenomenal. And I think that's one thing that LeBron, for me, has always been one of the things why I put him above some of the other stars is, you see, the guys like Kobe, even MJ, are just kind of assassins. Like, they're kind of on their own. Yes, they're teammates. They know when to get them involved, but they're not always the most warm to their teammate kind of guys. I mean, Michael Jordan punched a teammate, Steve Kerr, during practice. LeBron, I think, is one of those guys who everybody in his always gets along so well with his teammates, and you just see it in the way he plays, how giving he is. He's one of the most giving stars in NBA history. He's always looking to try to get his teammates involved, sometimes even if it affects his own scoring. We saw the story this week that he would come off the bench if he thought it would help the Cavs win. Now, of course, it wouldn't help the Cavs win because he's the best player in the world. You need him to start the game. But I believe it with LeBron because we've seen throughout his career, he's always been a guy who's really emphasized getting your teammates involved, being a good teammate. Being a good teammate will breed so much success, and we saw it in the teams that won championships in Miami with Shane Battier and Ray Allen and all of those guys, how big of a teammate and how big a core of that unity was for them. LeBron, I think, just gets it. I wouldn't want to have another guy leading my team. He's everything you could ever want in a leader, and you see it in the way he plays the game. And then the final note of the game last night was Chris Paul. Now, let's be honest, it got a little bit ugly in this game for the Clippers in the third quarter. 5 technical fouls in this game, and all their frustrations just came out in the third quarter. I mean, DeAndre Jordan had a couple pretty bad ones. Doc Rivers got hit with one. Matt Barnes got ejected for 2 technical fouls in the third quarter. Chris Paul got hit with one. And now the talk after the game was that after the game, rookie ref Lauren Holtkamp, who I thought did a pretty good job in this game, Chris Paul said that this night might not be for her, and that was in regards to him getting hit with a technical foul. And let's be honest, I thought Chris Paul absolutely deserved a technical foul. Now, of course, Chris Paul said that he just was asking for the ball back, but I mean, he had a really bad flagrant foul earlier in this game against Timothy Mozgov where he really tried to bring him down around his neck. Chris Paul did not have a good game. Nobody on the Clippers had a good game. The frustration was clearly evident. I think that they were just running their mouths. Matt Barnes was running his mouth. DeAndre Jordan was running his mouth. And it just came down to a point where the refs had to just say enough. And I think I give Lauren Holtkamp credit. Chris Paul is just a guy I think he thinks he deserves. He's entitled to not getting these calls because he's a superstar in this league. But look, if you run your mouth, there comes a point where enough is enough. And I'm in the Lauren Holt camp in this one. I just think Chris Paul, the whole Clippers, the way everything was going in this game, a technical foul is warranted in that situation. I really do. You just watch the way the game was going. It could have gotten ugly because the Clippers were clearly frustrated. DeAndre Jordan was kind of getting over the line. Matt Barnes did go over the line and got ejected because of it. Doc Rivers even got hit with a technical. Is this all frustration? Chris Paul is going to get probably going to get fined. He should be fined because of it. I just thought that it kind of doesn't look good. I mean, look, you got to kind of have self-awareness when you're the president of the Players Association like he is, and it just didn't look good coming from Chris Paul because I think the one thing that the NBA always kind of puts their hat on is that they're a league that really embraces giving people first chances that haven't got them before, very big in giving a woman a chance to start and do things in this league like they did with the Spurs, like they did here. And I just think it doesn't look good coming out of Chris Paul because when you look at the way the game was going, a technical was very warranted in this situation. The Clippers were clearly frustrated, and everything the way it was going, it had to happen. But that is going to do it for this segment. Stay with us, and we will be right back.